Hello, hello, hello. I am the Linux Mint. Last week, Linux Mint came out with their brand new ISO, Linux Mint 22. And today, I'm going to show you how to upgrade from 21.3 to Linux Mint 22. So, let's get to it. So right now, I'm at the Linux Mint website, and I'm at Linux Mint 21.3 release. Now you're probably wondering, well, why is he looking at that? That's not the new one. And the reason why is this. This is the release notes for Linux Mint 21.3, which was the most current one before last week. And this one is going to be supported until 2027. So you really don't have to upgrade. If you're running Linux Mint 21.3, you could stay with it. Your apps are still going to get updated. You're still going to get security updates, and it's still going to be safe to use till 2027. That's another 3 years. But if you do want to upgrade, I'm going to show you how to do it. So now I'm at the main page of Linux Mint, and of course, Linux Mint 22 came out last week. And it tells you right here, if you do decide to upgrade, it's a long-term support release, which will be supported until 2029. So Linux Mint 22 is going to be supported for 5 years. Not bad, eh? Now, if you click on links and go to, click on links and go to blog, this was released today. There are instructions on how to upgrade from 21.3 to 22. And you can see here, and you know what? I should make this a little larger, right? And you can see here, this was posted today, July 28th. So they tell you the upgrade instructions are available at this link. So let's click on the link and how to upgrade to Linux Mint 22. And let's make this a little larger and let's go down. And they go into the instructions, but before you do that, you should do this. Let's go to my virtual machine and let's make it full screen and let's open up a terminal. So you can see there's a red dot here. That means I have updates to do. And I'm going to make it full screen. So first, the very first thing you should do is make sure your 21.3 system is up to date. And just to show you I'm in 21.3, I'm going to do a neo fetch. So you can see I'm in Linux Mint 21.3. So the very first thing you should do is a normal update. I'm just going to do it in a terminal. I'm not going to go into the GUI. I'm going to do sudo apt update. And put my password in. And there's 40 packages to upgrade. So I'm going to do, and you know what? Let's just do this. Let's see what they are. I want to see if there's a kernel. Because if there's a kernel, then I got to reboot. And there's a new kernel. So I'm going to go through a normal upgrade and reboot. So I'm going to clear the screen and I'm going to do sudo apt upgrade. And I'm going to hit enter. So this can probably take about 5 minutes or so. And I'm going to have to reboot. And then I'm going to go through the process of upgrading it from 21.3 to 22. Okay. So don't go away because I'm going to be back. Okay. So I'm back. That didn't take long at all. I think it took at the very, very most 5 minutes, maybe not even that long. So my system is up to date, but I have to reboot because it installed a new kernel. So I'm going to reboot. And of course, this is a virtual machine. And the reason why there was 46 packages to update is that I don't use it. It's just a virtual machine I made for the purpose of making videos. Okay, we're at the login screen, so I'm going to put my password in. And now my system is up to date. So what I'm going to do is, let's go back down to my Firefox, and let's see what we have to do here. Apt update. Well, there shouldn't be anything to update because I just updated the system, right? Let's do sudo apt update. Put my password in. Should say I'm up to date now because we just updated the system. All packages are up to date. Let's go back to the instructions. Apt install Mint upgrade. Okay. Let's do apt. Let's do sudo. Sudo apt install Mint upgrade. All one word. Let's hit enter. Let's make that full screen. Let's see how long this takes. This part should only take a moment or two. And that's done. Now let's go back to my bare metal computer. And now it's going to tell you do sudo mint upgrade. Okay. And before we go there, let's just finish reading this. It's going to ask you to upgrade to Linux Mint 22 Wilma. Follow the instructions on the screen. When the tool is done and the upgrade is successful, uninstall it and reboot your computer. So after that, we're going to do apt remove mint upgrade and reboot. Now it's telling you that the upgrade could take several hours. I find that hard to believe because I've gone through this process before in a virtual machine and it didn't take several hours. And even to do a fresh install only takes 10 minutes at the most. But let's see. So we did this command, we did this command, we did these two commands, and now we're going to do sudo mint upgrade. Okay, let's go back to my virtual machine. Let's clear the screen. Let's do sudo mint upgrade. Let's put my password in. I think I just figured this out. Let's open up this hamburger menu. Let's go to preferences. These requirements are there to guarantee a safe upgrade. Only disable them if you know what you are doing. I think I know what I'm doing. It's just a virtual machine. Anyways, you should have all your personal stuff backed up on a separate drive, a thumb drive or whatever, okay? Recent time shift snapshot. Let's turn that off. Now, let's go back. And let's go. Let's see if it skips it. Oh, look at this. This is red. Ooh. Oh, it's taking a lot longer than I thought. So I'm going to pause the video and come back when we get to the next step. So don't go away. Oh, again, as soon as I paused it, we're at the next step. Your package, phase 2. Your package repositories will now point towards the new release. A few more tests will be run and package updates will be downloaded. Okay. I don't remember doing this last year when I went through the upgrade process. But hey, maybe they changed it a bit. I'm going to pause the video again and come back when the next step is ready. It's kind of funny, every time I hit the pause button, we get to the next step. Okay, so it's just telling you what you're going to do. You can check again, or you can say, okay. I don't know what the difference is check again is. I don't need it to check again. Let's do okay. I think it was a lot easier to upgrade last year. I don't remember it doing all this. Anyways, it's downloading the packages. So I'm going to put it on pause. It says it's going to take several hours. I don't know. It didn't take that long last year. So I'm going to pause the video and come back. So don't go away. So it's downloading all the packages. And one thing I don't like about this, it doesn't tell you how far you've gone. Like there's no bar or percentage. You know, it'd be nice to know whether I'm 20% or 50% or almost at the end. And it's really taking a long time. Anyways, I'm going to pause the video again and come back when we get to the next step. Hopefully it's not going to take hours. Okay, we've come to phase 3. The packages will now be upgraded. Let's click OK. And now we're in the upgrading phase. And again, there's no bar, there's no percentage. It'd be nice to have that. And it is taking quite a long time for this to go through the process. I could have had a brand new install done by now. Anyways, I'm going to pause the video and come back. Well, I'm a half an hour into this upgrade, and it just reminds me of Windows. And I'm not impressed. I feel like bailing out. When I look at all this gobbledygook down here. So it's almost 8 o'clock, and it's still upgrading the system. Started at 8:23. And what I did realize that if I open the terminal, you can see all the packages it's updating, but still it's not giving me indication whether I'm halfway through or almost done. It's I don't remember it being like this a year ago. Because a year ago I made a video on how to upgrade from the previous Linux Mint to the brand new Linux Mint 21.3. And I don't remember it taking this long. Let's go back here. Still spinning. Reminds me of Windows. And I don't know what language this is. I don't know if this is gobbledygook or if this is some other language. Looks like Greek. I don't know if I should pause the video or if I should just stop it and bail out of here. I really don't know. I'm going to pause it for a little while longer and see what happens. So I don't know if you people pay attention to the clock on the bottom right corner of my screen, but 2 days have passed. So what happened is that it was upgrading for an hour and a half. It was getting close to 9 o'clock, and it was time for me to eat. Well, Sunday evenings we eat late. And I was getting tired, and because it was only a virtual machine, I powered off and shut down. Now, for starters, I don't recommend you doing that if you're doing it to your, if you're upgrading a bare metal computer, I do not recommend powering off because you could ruin your whole install. And like I said, it was just a virtual machine, so I didn't care. And like I said, it was spinning around and around and around, and an hour and a half had passed, and it was not giving me any indication of whether I was almost done or only 50% or only 20%. I don't know. Now, a year ago, I went through the process of upgrading from 21.1 to 21.2 through the upgrade process, and I made this video about it. And it only took about, 11 minutes to do the upgrade, maybe 15 at the most, and it went smoothly. And this past January, I went through the upgrade process again and made this video about it, upgrading from 21.2 to 21.3. And again, it went very smoothly. I had no trouble. And again, it only took about 11 minutes, maybe 15 minutes at the most. So when I was reading the instructions from myself and on camera earlier in this video, when it said, this is right here, it says this is a major upgrade. It can take several hours. I didn't believe it. I took it as at a grain of salt, and I thought, well, maybe if you have a really slow internet speed and a really old computer, maybe. I thought they were exaggerating or using hyperbole, but I guess not. And because the last 2 times I went through the upgrade process, like I said, it only took 11 minutes, maybe 15 minutes at the most. But the last 2 times I went through the upgrade process, I was upgrading from one point release to the next point release. This was not an upgrade from a point release to another point release. This was a major upgrade, going from 21.3 to 22. So maybe there's a difference there because of that. I don't know. Now, another thing is that I'm not good at reading instructions, so I didn't properly read instructions before I started doing the upgrade, and that's this. It tells you right here. Now, if you remember earlier on in my video, the fonts went all out of whack, and they were unreadable, and I said it looked like another language, or to me, it kind of looked like Greek. Well, it tells you right here. During the upgrade, and it helps to read the instructions, right? So it tells you right here, during the upgrade, the font rendering will break and your fonts will become unreadable. The upgrade tool is protected against this issue and not impacted. Do not interrupt the upgrade. Do not close the terminal attached to it. Ignore the issues until the upgrade is finished. But anyways, that's not why I canceled the upgrade. I canceled the upgrade because it was an hour and a half into it, and there was no indication as to whether I was 20%, 50%, or 90% done. Now, I could have let the thing run while I was eating dinner, but I decided to cancel it and bail out of the system. And it was only, like I said, it was only a virtual machine. Now, another thing as well is when you start the process in the terminal, it takes you to a screen to do time shift. And I've never used time shift. In my 4.5 years of using Linux, I've never used time shift because, and I've never taken a snapshot of my system because I have all my personal files backed up. And I think it's just as easy, if not easier, just to do a brand new install. If your system breaks, do a brand new install. Put your backup in, and you're done. And reinstall some of the apps that are not installed by default that you like to use. So I've never used time shift, but when you're going through the install, it automatically takes you through time shift. So when I was making the video, it started going through time shift on camera. And I filmed it, but I edited that part of the video out. And I was fiddling around with it, and it took quite a while for me to figure out how to turn off time shift because I didn't want it on, and I didn't want the install to take even longer. But like I said, I cut that part out of the video. And that's it. In this video, I attempted to go through an upgrade of Linux Mint from 21.3 to 22. And going through the video, I bailed out. I canceled it because it was running for an hour and a half and there was no indication as to whether it was 20%, 50%, or 90% completed. And I wanted to go for dinner. So I bailed out. And since then, 2 days have passed. And like I showed on the blog, the Linux Mint blog, another person, theirs was running for 5 hours. And this person canceled the update and bailed out. Now, of course, I was using a virtual machine. If you're doing this on bare metal, you should not bail out or cancel out. And in my video, I turned off time shift, although I didn't show that on camera. But off camera, I turned off time shift. And really, you shouldn't do that. If you're doing this in bare metal, you should be using time shift, or you should back up all your files onto an external hard drive or an external thumb drive, and you should have everything backed up. If you don't do that, you should use time shift. Secondly, if it's taking a long time for the upgrade, you should let it run through. Don't turn off your computer. Now, I turned mine off because it was a virtual machine and I had nothing in it. It was just a virtual machine that I was using for the purpose of making the video. But if you're doing this on bare metal, you should have a backup. And if it's taking a long time, let it run its course. Don't power down. And I just want to repeat that the last 2 times I did an upgrade of Linux Mint on camera, it only took 10 to 15 minutes. It didn't take that long. But it was upgrading point releases. It wasn't upgrading to a brand new number. I don't know if that has anything to do with it or not. But I am going to say that I've been making YouTube videos for a year and a half, over a year and a half. And this is the first time on camera when I bailed out or I canceled an install. The only other time I did it was when I tried to do on camera an install of BSD, OpenBSD. Now I did on camera videos of installing FreeBSD and GhostBSD, and they worked fine. But one time on camera, I tried to do a video of installing OpenBSD in a virtual machine, and my mouse and my keyboard weren't working. I couldn't get anything done in the terminal, and I canceled it and bailed out. So that was only one time that I bailed out of doing an install or an upgrade on camera. And I really have to say that I'm really disappointed in this upgrade process of Linux Mint, and I'm going to give it a thumbs down. I'm really disappointed. It was taking way too long, and there's no indicator to tell you whether you're 20%, 50%, or 90% done. And personally, for me, number one, if you're using a Linux Mint 21.3, it's going to be receiving security updates until 2027. And of course, if you stay in 21.3, your web browser and your other apps are still going to get updates. And for sure, you're still going to get security updates until 2027. So honestly, if you're using 21.3 on bare metal and that's your main computer, I am going to recommend to you that you do not update to Linux Mint 22, Wilma. Stay where you are. At least stay where you are for a few months. And if you're going to upgrade, I would suggest backing up all your personal files onto an external drive and just doing a fresh install. Because a fresh install of Linux Mint only takes 10 minutes. You could do a fresh install of Linux Mint, takes 10 minutes, plug in your backup drive and load up your personal files back into it, and any apps that you were using that are not default, reinstall them. That's going to take less time than doing an upgrade and a less chance of having your system damaged. But like I said before, I'm going to say again, if 21.3 is working good for you, stay on it. And like I said, I'm disappointed in the upgrade process of Linux Mint. And I'm going to say that I do love Linux Mint. I think it's a great distribution. It was my first. And I think it's a great distribution. I think the devs are great guys. So I don't want to put it completely down. But I'm not happy with this upgrade process. And really, I think this pleads the case for using a rolling release distribution like Arch Linux. By the way, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like it and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching. Until next time, I am the Linux Mensch.